We're here today with author Gilbert Sanchez, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his new book. And I love his title, A Cookbook for Revenge. So tell us a little bit about your book and even the inspiration behind it and the book name.
The book name, I had actually started out with wanting to call it Recipe for Revenge. And I started looking up online and I saw other things, other movies, or it was the movie or a television show that was called Recipe for Revenge. I think it was a movie. I thought, I can't do this. I got to name it something different. I'm a chef. I'm kind of cooking up recipes to get rid of the people that caused all of us so much pain. So I figured, why not call it Cookbook for Revenge? It started out a few years ago with me writing a book called My Life in the Science of Cooking, and it was all about recipes. And then on one side of the page it would be recipes, on the other side of the page it would be what was going on during that period of time in my life that kind of coincided with those recipes, whatever year it was and what was happening. And as time, and I put it down for a while, excuse me, and as time went on, we were going through life and business, and COVID hit, and I got laid off for COVID. And, I think a lot of us who did wind up getting laid off for COVID got a little angry at the situation. And I started, dredging up more and more of the things that had happened when I was coming through the system. And that's where this book was born. It was like, okay, why don't you take some of that anger you've got, or take some of that, whatever is going on inside of you, and just put it out there on the pages, make it cathartic, make it just a little bit of therapeutic to get it out there, and to do what we needed to do. So a lot of the things that had happened in that book, a lot of those stories of what had happened to me and to others are in fact true. It's kind of autobiographical in some ways, not the killing part of it, because we don't do that part of it. My son said it was like an autobiography, that in the book I went bad and in real life I went good, or I stayed good. So some of those stories are true. And I think, I had to put some different stuff in there to kind of, give the story a little bit of meat, a little bit more substance. Not everything happened, but there are quite a few things that did. The book fair that I did, like I told you, I had people asking me, where did all of this happen? And I told them, it happened here in Tucson. And they kept asking me about the names of the people and the restaurants. And I'm not telling anybody anything. It's going to stay where it's at.
Yeah, you're sworn to secrecy, but I love that of how you, going back to channeling the inspiration coming from the built up anger that we can all relate to from that 2020 time frame, and using it for something good. One question that I did have is there a sequel in you?
Yeah, I've actually started writing the sequel. It's I'm about 12 chapters into it now. I think the writing for this sequel is, I think it's a little cleaner. There's one of the things that's like my son, after every chapter I gave it to my son to read, and he's like, it's a great story, but nothing bad is happening to any of the main characters in the book. So just to kind of give a little bit of a little cheating there on it, just turned in the second book. Yeah, there are some things that happen to some of the main characters, and but it's just kind of fun to just kind of keep it going and do what I need to do. And again, I didn't do any of this for real. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. I had to close out my email so that it didn't keep beeping. None of the things are real. None of the bad parts of it are real as far as the killing goes. But, it's just, again, getting more and more stuff out there to get it off my chest, put it on some paper.
Yeah, using it for the entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
So last question for you, Gilbert. Anything else you want your audience to know about Cookbook for Revenge?
So I was interviewed 2 days ago by one of the local newspapers here in town, and she asked me the same question. And this profession that we're in, it's a pretty brutal profession. Back in the day, it was extremely brutal. There was a whole lot of bad things that happened that nobody really wanted to do anything about. They just continued to let things happen over and over again. It was always, oh, it's the chef, how the chefs are. You just kind of leave them alone. And I think it turned a lot of people off from that profession or from this profession. Talked to a couple of people at the book fair, and they were telling me that their sons or daughters, they started getting into the profession and they got out of it because of that reason, because they were being, abused, harassed in one way or another by the people that are in there. So I guess my whole story is not, to let people know that the profession doesn't have to be that way. No, you don't have to go out and get revenge by killing people, but stay the course with what you're doing and how you're doing it. It's a great profession if you want to be in it and you want to learn and you want to do something that's rewarding. Because to me, that's what it's all about. It is a rewarding profession for me. But I think that they glorify nowadays the Gordon Ramsays screaming and yelling and throwing things and doing all this kind of stuff. And and people may think it's acting, people may think it's not factual. Well, it is. In some kitchens, it probably still is more than anything, but in a lot of kitchens back then, it was reality. So those of us that stuck it out, we just keep going, and some of us write books, and we keep working in the profession because we love it.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. If you're interested in like myself, grabbing a copy of Gilbert's book, it's available online through Amazon, through Barnes and Noble. You can even grab an ebook version through Amazon on iTunes. So get out there, grab a book, grab a copy of his book, Cookbook for Revenge. Thanks again for sharing with us, Gilbert.
Thank you very much. You have a great day.